Hey, what's going on, guys? Illegal Mist here with another raid video. Today, we're going to be talking about the Sparring Pit, and we're going to see the math behind whether it's worth it to unlock the Sparring Pit, upgrade the slots, or if you should save your gems for 12-3 brutal farming instead. I've also gone in and I've customized the sheet so that you can see, based on how much you play, whether the Sparring Pit's worth it to unlock, and to see how many days it'll take in the Sparring Pit to recuperate your gems. Let's get straight into it. Before we talk about the Sparring Pit and exactly how many days it's going to take us to recuperate our gems, I wanted to go through and talk about 12-3 Brutal and see the nitty gritty of how many gems we need to spend and how much energy we get per gem. Just like any good math teacher wants me to do, I made sure to show my work. The first number that we have is the XP that we get per champion. I multiplied that number by 2 because typically when you're playing raid, you have a double XP going on. The next number that we have is the XP that we get per run for all of our food champs. So we simply take that 8600 and we multiply it by 2. The next number we have is our max energy reserve, which is 130 based on being level 60 or above. We have the energy that we spend per run on 12-3 Brutal at 8. And then we use our numbers above to find the runs per refill, which is simply doing the equation of max energy reserve of 130 and dividing that by 8. We come out to about 16.25 runs that we get per energy refill. We can then go in and find our XP per refill if we do another equation of XP per run for our 3 food, and then we divide that by the energy per run that we spend. We get about 3200 XP per energy. We can also see our XP per energy if we just divide the total XP that we get from all 3 of our food champs, and we divide that number by the energy that we spend per run. Comes out to about 3200 XP per energy. I also have our gems per refill that we need to spend in order to get 130 energy, which is 40. And then everything comes down to the gems that we spend per run on 12-3 Brutal. We get this number by simply dividing the total number of gems that we have divided by the runs per refill that we have. So it takes 40 gems to run 16.25 raids on 12-3 Brutal. That comes out to 2.46 gems per run on 12-3 Brutal. Once we find our gems per run, we simply need to do another equation, and then we find out how much XP we spend per gem. We can then use this equation to figure out how many gems equate to how much XP, and we can use that to compare the Sparring Pit to 12-3 Brutal runs. To find the XP per gem, we just need to find our XP per run, which is 25,956, and we divide that number by the gems that we spend per run of 2.46. It comes out to 1 gem equating to 10,544 XP. Perfect. I also added the source of information that I got for each of these equations, and I made sure to turn it black just so it wasn't too much for you guys. But when you go in, feel free to look at it and you can see how all of the equations work out and where I got the information for some of the stuff. Great. Now I know how much XP I get per gem, but I want to find out how much XP I would get if I use that on 12-3 Brutal instead of unlocking the Sparring Pit. Luckily, I have that math right here. Here we have our XP sums based on the amount of gems that we would use to unlock or upgrade the Sparring Pit. For the first upgrade or unlock, it would be 300 gems, which comes out to 3.1 million XP that we would get if we were farming 12-3 Brutal. We'd use 650 gems to upgrade to level 2, which would be 6.8 mil, and then the third and final level would give us about 11 mil XP. So basically, on the far right, we have our Sparring Pit level. In the middle is the gems that it would take to unlock or upgrade it. And then on the far left is what we would get if we used those 300 gems for 12-3 Brutal farming. If we go over here, we can look at basic facts about the Sparring Pit. For Sparring Pit level 1, we get 1900 XP plus an additional 100 XP for whatever rank the champion is. So a rank 1 champion would give us an additional 100 XP per hour, but a rank 6 champion would give us 600 XP per hour additional. So it would be 1900 plus 600 for a rank 6 and 1900 plus 100 for a rank 1 champion. We can do that for each of the Sparring Pit levels to get what we would have if we used a certain level Sparring Pit with a certain rank champion. Here we can see our breakdown of Sparring Pit level, as well as the ranks and upgrade costs, and then the days to break even for those. For this example, I'm using 100% efficiency on our Sparring Pit, but I've included a way for us to be able to change our percentage of usage for the Sparring Pit based on how active you are with it or how inactive you are. So for this one right here, if we have a rank 1 champion in a level 1 sparring pit, it'll take us 66 days to break even. The math that we use to find this is by going over to our B3, which is the XP sum for 300 gems. We divide that by G21, which is our rank 1 champion in a level 1 sparring pit, that XP that we get per hour. We multiply that by the effectiveness of how often we are using the sparring pit. So for our example, we're using 100% effectiveness of it. And then we divide it by 24 for the number of hours in a day. It comes out to about 66 days for us to break even on those 300 gems. So if I use 300 gems to unlock a sparring pit, it'll take me 66 days of straight use with a rank 1, level 1 sparring pit to break even. And everything after that is XP that I would not have gotten if I had just farmed 12-3 Brutal. We can see the difference if we use a different rank champion if we scroll down and we go over to our rank 6 champions in a level 1 sparring pit. Here, we use the same equation, except for we're getting 2500 XP an hour instead of 2000. The difference comes out to 53 days instead of those 66. So it's almost 2 weeks faster to use rank 6 champions. There's a lot of variables in this, so I encourage you guys to go in the description below, click on the link, and you can go in, create your own copy of this Sparring Pit Excel sheet, and do all of the things that you want to make sure that you're being most efficient and realistic with what you can expect from the Sparring Pit on your account. We can go into a level 2 sparring pit with a rank 6 champion, and we can see it'll take us 82 days to break even. And the same thing with a level 3 sparring pit, it'll take us 103 days. The only difference between these three formulas right here is the fact that they're calculating based on the XP that we get from the different amount of gems. So again, the level 1 sparring pit has 300 gems, level 2 has 650, and then the level 3 has 1050. When we look at these formulas, we're essentially trying to find a way to link experience and gems together. We can kind of reverse engineer this so that we can see how much the sparring pit would give us in gems in the form of experience every day. I was able to go in and create a formula to figure out the gem equivalent of experience that we get in a day based on the rank and level of the champion in the sparring pit. We can see a rank 1 champion in a level 1 sparring pit will give us the gem equivalent of 4.6 gems a day. That comes out to about 1,600 gems a year if we're 100% effective with our sparring pit. Now, we're never going to be 100% efficient with the sparring pit, so we can go in and we can change our efficiency to better reflect the amount of gem equivalent experience we would get in a day. All we need to do is scroll up to K2, and we can change the percentage of activity level. Let's change it to a more realistic 50%, and we can see our gem equivalent changes. Now, instead of 4.6, we have 2.3 gem equivalent experience in a day. We can see our gems a year changes as well. I found it really interesting that we got about 800 gems worth of experience with a level 1 sparring pit with a rank 1 champion in a year. So I wanted to compare that to the gem mine to see just how good it was. With a gem mine level 1, we get about 5 gems a day. Over the course of a year, we get 1,825 gems from a level 1 gem mine. Now, comparing a level 1 sparring pit with a rank 1 champion to a level 1 gem mine, it comes out to 2.2 gems in the gem mine compared to 1 gem in the sparring pit, equivalent experience. To further show just how good the sparring pit really is, we can go down to a rank 6 champion in a level 3 sparring pit. When we go all the way down to a rank 6 champion in a level 3 sparring pit, we can see we get the gem equivalent of 5.1 gems in a day. So we're actually getting more gems from one level 3 sparring pit with a rank 6 champion than we would with a level 1 gem mine. The total gems a year comes out to 1,869. But you need to do the math and figure out that there's 5 different gem mines. So it really comes out to 9,345 gems a year that you would get if you were 50% efficient with rank 6 champions in level 3 sparring pits. That is a substantial amount of gem equivalent experience. Comparing that to a level 3 gem mine, it only gives us 5,475 gems in a year. To show just how good the level 3 sparring pit is with rank 6 champs, I did a little quick math, and it comes out to 25.6 gems worth of experience in one day if you have all 5 of your sparring pits level 3 with rank 6 champions in it. It comes out to 9,345 gems in a year. Compare that to a level 3 gem mine, which only gives you 15 gems in a day, or 5,475 gems in a year, you're only getting 0.6 gems for every 1 gem from all of your sparring pits. And again, when I say 1 gem from the sparring pit, what I mean is 1 gem equivalent of experience from the sparring pits. When we go up here, we have another great visual just to show how awesome the sparring pits really are. If we have all of our sparring pits leveled up to level 3, it'll cost us 4,950 gems. That's all 5 sparring pits getting up to level 3. The gem equivalent of experience that we get in 1 year, again, with 50% efficiency on our sparring pit, comes out to 11,250 gem equivalents of experience. This is with rank 6 champions, but you guys can go in and you can change it to any different number. After 1 year, we gain 6,300 gems worth of experience just from our sparring pits. When I say that, I mean it would take 6,300 gems on 12-3 Brutal for you to get the same amount of experience as if you just bought the sparring pits and put them up to level 3. Just for fun, I'll show you guys how efficient the sparring pit could be if you were perfect with min-maxing it. If we just change our sparring pit activity and we put it up to 100, we can now see in 1 year, all 5 sparring pits would give us 22,500 gems worth of experience in a year. It is mind-blowing to me, the fact that no one's gone in and done this math already and found out that the sparring pits are this good. Again, this is a perfect example of min-maxing your sparring pit, so it's not realistic. For a more realistic number, we can use rank 4 champs with 50% efficiency. To do that, all I need to do is change my formula so that we're looking at the rank 4 chickens in 3-star sparring pits. And then we change our efficiency of the sparring pits to 50%. Now we see 10,750 gems worth of experience in 1 year. Again, in 1 year, we pay all of our gems back for using the sparring pit, as well as getting 5,800 gems worth of experience. After the first year, every additional year, you're getting 10,000 gems worth of experience for literally doing nothing other than clicking upgrade level or switching that champion to a different one. The sparring pit is so good, and I recommend everyone going up to level 3 because we can go to the complete opposite end of efficiency and finding out how effective it is. If I change our sparring pit activity to 30%, and I change our gem equivalent in a year from rank 4 champions to rank 1, if we use our sparring pits level 3 for 8 hours a day for an entire year with rank 1 champions, we still come out on top. Every subsequent year, we're gaining 6,000 gems worth of experience. The sparring pit is super underutilized and super unappreciated. We need to take a moment to just realize that we need to start upgrading these and leveling up as soon as we can. Again, we're paying a fixed cost for all of our sparring pits to get up to level 3, and then every single time we use it after that, we're gaining XP that we typically would not have gained. It might be a big investment of almost 5,000 gems, but those 5,000 gems can save you tens of thousands of gems depending on how often you play and how effective you are with your sparring pit. What do you guys think about the sparring pit after this? For me, it was a huge shock and I was not expecting what I found out. The sparring pit is severely underutilized, and to prove it to you guys, I'm going to upgrade all of my slots right now. I truly stand by what I said. I just upgraded my sparring pit all the way. I lost a bunch of gems, but over the course of the next 6 months, I'll recuperate those gems, as well as I'll gain thousands of gems every year I play this game if I'm slightly active with the sparring pit. Make sure you guys like the video, and be sure to send it to anyone that has questions about the sparring pit. Otherwise, I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.